I am Caroline of Brunswick, Queen of England by title, but in truth, a queen without a throne, without a kingdom, and without love. My story, particularly between the years 1820 and 1830, is one of betrayal, resilience, and an unyielding fight for dignity. When 1820 dawned, I found myself at the center of a scandal that shook the British monarchy. George, my husband, though I hardly think of him as such, ascended to the throne as King George IV. Yet he sought to deny me my rightful place as queen. Our marriage, a political arrangement devoid of affection, had long been a disaster. His disdain for me was evident from the moment we met, and over the years, it had only deepened into hatred. I had been living in Europe, far from the stifling court of England, when I learned of his intention to exclude me from his coronation. He accused me of infidelity, a charge so hypocritical it would have been laughable if it hadn't threatened my reputation and my very survival. My return to England in June of 1820 was not merely a homecoming, it was a declaration of war. I would not be erased. The so-called trial of Queen Caroline began in the House of Lords. They sought to annul my marriage and strip me of my title. The evidence against me was flimsy and scandalous, filled with tales of alleged liaisons with my Italian servants, particularly Bartolomeo Pergami. These accusations, orchestrated by George and his allies, were intended to humiliate me. I sat in that courtroom, day after day, enduring the jeers of my detractors and the prying eyes of the public. Yet, to my astonishment and gratitude, the people of England, common men and women, rallied to my side. They saw in me not just a queen but a wronged woman, a victim of a cruel and vindictive husband. Their cheers outside the courtroom gave me strength. When the Lords' bill to dissolve my marriage failed to pass in November of 1820, I felt a small victory. But it was a hollow one. Though I retained my title, George barred me from his coronation in 1821, an act of pettiness that stung deeply. My life after the trial was one of quiet defiance. I sought refuge in Hammersmith, a far cry from the splendor of royal palaces. My health, already fragile, began to decline. By the summer of 1821, I was gravely ill. On the day of George's coronation, I attempted to enter Westminster Abbey, demanding my place as queen. I was turned away, humiliated before the crowd. It was one of my final public acts. On August 7, 1821, I died. The official cause was said to be an intestinal illness, but I knew my heart had given out long before. The years of humiliation, the battles with George, and the constant strain of living under public scrutiny had taken their toll. My last wish was to be buried in Brunswick, my homeland, with the simple inscription, "Here lies Caroline, the injured Queen of England." Even in death, George sought to diminish me. My funeral procession became a final act of defiance. Crowds of Londoners turned out to mourn me, clashing with soldiers as they insisted on escorting me through the city's streets. Their loyalty was my greatest solace. In the years after my death, I have been remembered more as a symbol than as a person. A symbol of resistance against tyranny, of a woman's fight for her dignity in a world that sought to silence her. Though my marriage to George IV was a torment, it brought to light the strength within me, a strength that even a king could not extinguish. This is my story. I am Caroline of Brunswick, a queen who never sat on her throne, but one who ruled the hearts of her people with her courage and her truth.